Ah, Fifth Watcher. How pleasant of you to provide this opportunity for a short, sharp exercise in critical thought. King Heathen put me onto your channel, and I must admit it's rather good. I encourage my subscribers to check it out if they haven't already. Anyway, let's do some epistemology. You claim that events at the very beginning of our physical universe are unknowable. You then go on to claim about 2 minutes in that God created the universe in such a way that we can discover how we did it, and that the universe should be 100% explicable by science. This is an important contradiction, I feel. Which model do you predicate your understanding of the God of the Gaps argument on? Is it one where every event that has occurred in the universe is knowable, or one where there are, in fact, unknowable events? It is important, because this ambiguity seems to inform, or rather misinform, your understanding about what the God of the Gaps fallacy is. Let's quickly go back to basis. I do not agree with your initial model that there are unknowable events. At least I don't think you can make the claim, because to claim there are unknowable events is to claim perfect knowledge of what is knowable, a claim I think you can't reasonably support. But if your second model is true and everything is knowable, which I think is a reasonable null hypothesis, then the type of God of the Gaps fallacy you outline cannot even be said to occur. Why would you claim that God is responsible for unknowable events if you don't believe there are any? What the God of the Gaps fallacy really is a claim that God is responsible for an unknown cause or event in absence of evidence. In other words, it is to have God as the null hypothesis. Why do I say this? The concept of a null hypothesis is important in many branches of inquiry. For example, if I assert that a drug cures a disease, then we test that hypothesis against the null hypothesis that it doesn't. The null hypothesis is a claim about what we should believe if there is no evidence either way. However, to have a null hypothesis for, say, how the universe was created makes no sense. There are literally infinite possible explanations, and no evidence, no possible default. If someone makes a God of the Gaps fallacy, they're essentially claiming that God is the null hypothesis. A baseless claim, in my opinion. I worry that you yourself are dangerously close to making this fallacy. You say God is behind the scenes in the whole picture, which implies that in the absence of evidence we should assume divine direction, or that God is the process itself. If the former you're making a fallacious claim, if the latter you're playing silly buggers with semantics and just redefining things for the sake of getting to use the G word. In summary, when you say you know very little about God, I suspect what you mean is that you know nothing, because knowledge, after all, is a subset of belief. You might call it rationally supported belief, and in absence of simply assuming that God is behind it all, or responsible for as yet unexplained events, I can't see for the life of me where your evidence might be coming from. To summarize the summary, I think the gaps in terms of the God of the Gaps fallacy are very substantially broader and deeper than you think they are, and I advise caution, lest you should tumble into them.